Well, today we'll see best scholarship, like 7 best scholarships that you will find in Japan for international students, right? So we have a guide on this. Let me actually first show you the guide. So hang on. So let's start off with this. So you can see this is 14 best scholarships in in Japan for international students. So you can see these here. We'll see like 7 of these, but if you're interested, you can see more of these by going through our guide here. So the first one, we'll start off with, hang on, with actually probably the most popular scholarship in Japan, which is Japanese government scholarships, or mixed scholarship, as it also known as. So I'm not going to say much about this. You can read our guide, and we have also actually made a YouTube video on this. So would you please explore some more about how to apply for MBBS in Italy? Perhaps in our upcoming videos or upcoming live streams, I'll note that down. Sorry, but today, we cannot go very deep on that subject. So Japanese government scholarships, you can watch our video. We made an entire video about this one. Eamon, what would you want to say? Maybe a little bit of information, general information about this one. Again, we have our guide here. It's very, very well known. It's also we've made a video about that. But if you want to sum it up in a couple of sentences, perhaps.
Yeah, so the mixed scholarships are probably the best scholarships you can get to study in Japan. The scholarships are fully funded. They're both for undergraduate and graduate students. They're far more competitive at the undergraduate level because of how many students apply every year. So you would be probably better off applying for a master's degree through the MEC scholarships than an undergraduate degree. So that's one thing. Language is probably very important when it comes to studying in Japan. So you either need good mastery of Japanese, English, or both. And most students who studied in Japan insist on regretting not studying Japanese enough before going to Japan, as their programs could have been in English or are in English, but they found a certain level of difficulty communicating with people outside of school, getting through a lot of things that require Japanese. So this is one thing to keep in mind if you want to study in Japan or any other non-English speaking country. You need to learn the language before going there, at least on a conversational level. You don't need to be fluent, but you need to be able to hold the conversation, to understand people, and to communicate what you need. This is a very important thing. Other than that, I think if you want to study in Japan, this is probably the one scholarship you should go for before going for university-specific scholarships. It is quite the generous scholarship. You can get into any university. I mean, it's not any university that you want, but they would see what university that you would be the best fit in, and they would recommend you to that university. So there are also 2 tracks. You can go through the university track or the embassy track. The embassy in your own country, the Japanese embassy, or you can go the university track, which means you're applying to specific universities.
So yeah, okay, thank you very much. Guys, you've heard Eamon saying a lot of people who received, who went to Japan for studying abroad, they insist on one of the biggest regrets they have is not studying for learning the language more. You can check this out for yourself. Go to globalscholarships.com, as I said. Go to resources, right? Sorry, my bad. You don't have to do that. Go to globalscholarships.com, scroll down, scholarship stories, right here, Paula, next scholarship recipient. You can click here, see about like what, like the scholarship details, educational background, how did they prepare to apply, see what would you have done differently if you were going through the process again. Well, I know my program was English. Looking back, I would have worked more on learning the language. So basically, what you could do is go down here, all stories, filter for Japan, and you can just read all of them. So these are the people we have from Japan. As you can see, a lot of these are actually maxed. There are other scholarships as well, and just like read their entire journey, read about them, and you will see too that most of them just mention how much it would be more helpful if they learn Japan a little bit more. So, for example, let's see. Yeah, not here, perhaps. Yeah, okay. So you can look at other ones as well. Anyway, so yeah. Also, you can just go and see our country guide for this one too. Yeah, Mixed is a very, very, very popular scholarship. You'll see a lot of videos about Mixed on YouTube, a lot of readily available information. So we'll move on to maybe lesser known scholarships. And hang on, this is the second one we have today. All right, so basically this is Asian Development Bank Japan Government Scholarship. So hang on. So you can see this gives you ADB JSP Scholarship. It gives you full tuition fees, monthly subsistence allowance, books and instructional materials, medical insurance, and travel expenses. You can read the brochure here. By clicking here and then citable URL. Come on. Okay. This is also a very, very comprehensive scholarship. Why does it not open? I'm pretty sure. Okay. This isn't working. Let's try it again. What if I do this? It will open. Yeah, okay. Here it is. So yeah, you can read more into the brochure and get more information about the scholarship. But basically, it gives you all of these things: tuition, subsistence allowance, travel expenses, and insurance. Like even insurance, which a lot of universities, a lot of scholarships don't really give you. We have eligibility requirements, available countries. It's not available for everyone. As you can see, we have a long list of requirements. Procedures for applying. And yeah, Eamon, do you want to add anything about this one? This one also looks very, very comprehensive and generous.
Indeed, yes. It's another fully funded scholarship that covers way more than only full tuition and a monthly stipend. And these scholarships are really rare to come by. And to find scholarships that cover your travel expenses and your medical insurance, I think that we get a lot of questions about scholarships that also cover travel expenses, sometimes visa expenses, although this one doesn't cover it. But these scholarships are always really rare and they're quite generous. Yeah, so if you want to study in Japan, here's yet another great resource to apply for. To increase your chances of getting a scholarship, you just have to apply for as many as you can. You have to start as early as you can.
Yeah.
And that's the key to getting scholarships, in addition to all the academic requirements, of course.
All right, thank you very much. So yeah, this was the second one, guys. Now let's see the next one. This is Join Japan World Bank Graduate Scholarship Program. Again, clearly this is for graduate students. So let's see this one. So this one, as you can see, we have the eligibility here. We have a list of benefits. So it covers tuition, a monthly living stipend, round-trip airfare, health insurance, and travel allowance. So yeah, be a national of a World Bank member developing country. Here's the list. Not hold dual citizenship with any developed country. Be in good health. Hold a bachelor or equivalent degree earned at least 3 years prior to application deadline. But there's more, but basically you can read these two. You'll find all of these, by the way, in our guide. Where is it? Hang on, let me share it. Let me show it to you again. So this is the real guide that we have. So you can see all of these here. I will just pick a couple of these to see today. So like it won't take up too much of our time. So yeah, this again covers a lot of your expenses. It even covers like travel, health insurance, etc., etc. Let me actually, yeah, here it is. So travel allowance, tuition, monthly subsistence allowance cover all living expenses. So it covers all your living expenses, accommodations, food, including books, etc. Eamon, do you want to say anything about this? Again, another very generous and comprehensive full funding scholarship.
Yes, indeed. I think what I said about the previous one really applies to this one. They're both great opportunities that you can apply for. Yeah, I mean, one thing to note is that most scholarships will be for graduate students, but many scholarships will be for undergraduate students, especially if they're externally funded and not offered by the universities themselves. This is always something to keep in mind. That's probably your best chances of getting a scholarship is applying for a master's degree scholarship rather than an undergraduate degree scholarship. Although there's quite a good number of those, but they're very competitive because of the volume of students applying for an undergraduate degree as opposed to students applying for a graduate one. Yeah.
But we will see a couple of undergraduate scholarships today as well that are full funding, because we have some very, very generous university scholarships as well. So, okay, thank you very much, Eamon. Now, the next one we'll see, which is the fourth one, is Rotary Yoneyama Scholarship for Overseas Candidates. So, let's see this one. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time to load. Yeah, so this is basically, again, graduate school, Japanese university graduate school. So not that much of an information here, but we'll see here. So undergraduates, this doesn't cover your tuition fees, but it gives you a stipend. Basically, for undergraduates, it's 100,000 Japanese yen. For masters, it's 140,000, and doctoral students, again, 140,000. We have supplemental for airfare, actual expenses to arrive. Yeah, so this is reimbursed. So basically, hello, sir, a full ride scholarship with no application fee for business programs in Australia. So I would advise you to see our I think we made a video about free application universities. I'll get back to you in a second after we are done with this one. Okay, the Anonid, we'll see. So yeah, this is again. So the cost of living in Tokyo is about 150,000 Japanese yen. So this gives you kind of a close amount to that. If you're undergraduate, especially if you're living in in dormitory in like on campus. So it might be way more affordable to live in Tokyo because of how the rent is very expensive. So yeah, this was a fourth one. This is a Rotary scholarship. Eamon, do you want to add anything specifically for this one? It's a
Nothing
pretty
really, I think.
straightforward one.
Yeah, straightforward. Yeah. I really don't have anything special to add about this one.
Yeah, so you can get more information, application guide, for example, here, application for scholarship, research plan, etc., etc. You can get more information here, but this is one of the more generous ones as it cover pretty much your complete like living expenses in Japan. And usually tuition fees are not that expensive here. So yeah, like a lot of your financial concerns will be the living expenses. So the fifth one is Tokyo Institute of Technology scholarships. So basically, these are university scholarships, which is why we're going to see one of our pages. So this is the page that we have for Tokyo Institute of Technology. So they have a lot of scholarships, but a couple of them are specifically quite generous. For example, this one. This is for undergraduates. Global Scientists and Engineers Program. This is full funding. You can click on these to see like the scholarship in more detail. For example, this one covers a monthly stipend. So yeah, monthly stipends for different awardees for MEXT and JSSO. So this is full funding, and this is for undergraduates. We have partial, we have one full tuition scholarship, and then for graduates we have more. We have three partial funding, one full funding. Tokyo Tech Spring, again, it covers full tuition. It gives you 180,000 yen per month as research incentive and 300,000 yen per year for research expenses, which, if you remember, it takes about like 150,000 Japanese yen to live in Tokyo. So this covers your full tuition fees, and then it gives you a livable stipend. So this is for PhD students. We have other partial funding scholarships as well. So this is like Tokyo Institute of Technology basically gives you quite a lot of very generous scholarships. So that's the fifth one we'll see today. Let's see, by the way, how it looks and where it is. Eamon, do you want to add anything about this one in general, perhaps?
Yeah, so most of these scholarships are quite specific and for specific subjects. Like the Global Scientists and Engineers program, for example, that is only for engineering, and there are only 18 offered scholarships. So these are specific requirements that maybe would favor students applying to these degrees because it eliminates a lot of other degrees, which means better chances of getting a scholarship. So if you're an engineering student and you want to apply for a scholarship, I would probably go for scholarships that are specifically offered to your degree before applying for scholarships that are offered to all degrees. Your chances of being accepted to those are far much higher than when you apply for scholarships that are offered to everyone. Some universities have specific seats or a specific number of recipients for each grad school or just specific schools at the university, which is good. Sometimes there is no clear separation, so it's just the best candidates that get the scholarships. That's why applying for specific scholarships is the best way of getting one.
Yeah. Again, guys, so we have, by the way, these scholarships that are just partial funding, they're also like quite, like they could prove quite helpful. For example, like 400, 500, 600,000 Japanese yen per year is also not bad, considering like if you're going to stay there for 8 months, 9 months, a year, it will cover quite a bit of your living expenses. So like, when you look at this, for example, this is partial funding, cross the border pioneering doctoral research scholarship research project. But it gives you 400,000 Japanese yen per year for research, 1.8 million Japanese yen per year for research incentive and living expenses, varying amount of travel expenses up to 700,000 Japanese yen per year for additional research. So yeah, I mean, even the partial ones are not just, for example, let's say 10%, 50% tuition reduction. They give you quite a lot of financial aid. Like there are a lot of value in this scholarship. So yeah, this is the fifth one. For sixth, we have KUAS. So let me show you this scholarship again. This is in Kyoto University of Advanced Sciences. Now this, as you can see, is just full tuition. It gives you it covers your tuition fees, but then we have also Super KUSE scholarship, which covers tuition fees, admission fees, and stipend for personal expenses worth 1.2 million per yen per year, which kind of covers your entire living expenses for like, let's say 8 to 9 months a year. So yeah, this is the scholarship. This is for bachelor's, master's, and PhD. It's full funding, no specific nationalities, no specific subjects. This is currently open, by the way. You don't have a lot of time for this. But maybe if you're masters, because like these take a lot of time to prepare and apply. So it covers again 100% tuition fees, admission fees, 1.2 million yen per year. Academically excellent, you have to be. We've made a video on this one. I think it was also quite popular. You can leave your questions here as always. And we can see the university's page for this scholarship. So yeah, let's see. As you can see, normal KUSE covers your tuition exemption for like 30%, 50%, 100% based on the level that you have. And then you have about like pretty much every program, every degree. And then Super KUSE covers all of that plus 1.2 million Japanese yen per year. So it is like giving you as 600,000 600,000 per semester. Tuition includes facility and laboratory fees with the eligibility, application period, scholarship period, 4 years for bachelor's, 2 years for masters, and 3 years for PhDs. Yeah, you can get more information for undergraduate, blah, blah, blah. You can, once again, find that on our guide for best scholarships in Japan. So let's see. Hang on. Eamon, do you want to add anything about this one?
Kyoto University of Advanced Science is probably one of the better known universities in Japan. And I believe they're a private university. They're not a public university, at least as far as I know. One thing to note is that the deadlines for these scholarships are quite close. I think they're in January.
Mm-hmm.
So for students who are interested in applying and are ready, I think it's high time you submitted your application for these scholarships. Otherwise, you'll have to wait another year. So next year, this time around December 2025, to submit your application. Yeah, so I think that's all, because these scholarships are also quite straightforward. There is nothing that makes them stand out in comparison to any other scholarships in Japan.
Okay, and we'll see the last one that we have today, which is U-Tokyo Gen Scholars Program. So let's see that as the last one. So this will give you a stipend plus a couple more things. It won't cover your tuition fees though. So it counts as partial funding. Program overview. Yeah, okay. So this is the program description. Provides hundreds of undergraduates each year with the opportunity to undertake scientific research projects at many of the world's leading institutions. So here we have the schedule. It's about 10 people. And then we have financial support. So this is about 270,000 Japanese yens. And then you have the accommodation covered, and then travel costs. And that's pretty much it. All students must arrange their own private health and travel insurance. And we have the eligibility, application deadline, FAQ, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, it's very straightforward. They just give you a certain stipend, and that's pretty much it. And then accommodation and travel costs. Yeah. Other than that, that's like it's very straightforward. Not much to say about this one, I guess. You can find this again on our guide. Eamon, do you want to say anything before we finish this one?
Yeah, as you said, this is just quite straightforward. One thing to note is that it's competitive, as only 10 students are admitted or accepted for the scholarship program. So just expect that the chances of getting this are quite low for most students. Yeah. Other than that, it's just basically the same as the previous scholarships.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. This was 7. Yeah, we've seen 7 best scholarships in Japan. There are, of course, other scholarships as well. Just like, again, let me show you our. So this is our guide on this topic. We have a lot of scholarships in Japan in our database as well. We can look into these. You can see our country guide for Japan. We'll talk about that. And or just type in Japan here, and see all the scholarships. So yeah, that's it. Now back to questions. We have